Good evening and welcome back to Mystery Sauce. Today we're diving into the mysterious case of Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student who disappeared without a trace on a cold February night in 2004. The story starts with a car accident on a remote stretch road in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Maura's vehicle had crashed and was facing the wrong way on the opposite side of the road. The last person to see her alive was a local school bus driver named Butch Atwood, who pulled over to check on her. According to Atwood, Maura told him that she already had called for help, but it's unclear if that's true, as her cell phone records indicate that the last phone number she dialed was made hours before the crash. As the investigation began, there were a few markings surrounding the crash site that would lead investigators and search dogs to a possible direction of where Maura may have gone in the minutes following the crash. The days leading up to her disappearance were also filled with unusual behavior. Maura had been crying and appearing zoned out to her co-workers, and the night before her disappearance, she attended a party with her friends. But the details of the party are unclear and witness statements have been inconsistent. The $4,000 her father withdrew from his bank account the day before her disappearance was reportedly to be used to buy her a new car, but there is no concrete evidence to support this. As we dive deeper into the case, we'll uncover a series of strange events and inconsistencies that have left both law enforcement and the public puzzled for nearly 2 decades. With so many unanswered questions, we'll explore the various theories and possible explanations for what happened to Maura Murray. This case may be 19 years old, but the search for answers continues to this day. As we delve deeper into the mysterious case of Maura, we'll take a closer look at the days leading up to her disappearance. And let me tell you, there were certainly some red flags and strange occurrences leading up to that fateful night. First, let's start with Maura's behavior at work. Just 2 days before her disappearance, Maura was working at the campus library at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where she was a nursing student. According to her supervisor, Karen Mayette, Maura was visibly upset and crying and seemed completely zoned out. Mayette dismissed Maura from her shift and the two walked back to Maura's storeroom together, but Mayette never saw her again. Then there's the matter of the $4,000 that Maura's father, Fred Murray, withdrew from his bank account the day before his daughter went missing. According to Fred, he withdrew the money to buy Maura a new car, but there is no concrete evidence to support this claim. Additionally, local car dealerships were unable to verify that Fred and Maura had visited on that Saturday. But perhaps one of the most intriguing pieces of puzzle is that the party that Maura attended the night before her disappearance, according to her friend Kate Makropoulos, and excuse me if I butcher that, the two left the party around 2:30 a.m. and were walked out by an unknown male. However, the details of the party are hazy and the guest list is unclear. Statements from partygoers have been inconsistent and many don't remember who was in attendance. It is also worth noting that Maura left the party in her father's new Toyota Corolla instead of her own car, which is a strange decision for someone who lived within walking distance of the party. Another interesting note is that Maura had been caught stealing makeup from a commissary at Fort Knox during a training trip in 2001 while she was a cadet at West Point. This behavior, along with her crying and zoned out behavior at work, has led some to speculate that she may have been struggling with personal issues at the time of her disappearance. But perhaps the most troubling behavior leading up to her disappearance is the email that Maura sent to her professors and work supervisors on the day of her disappearance, claiming that there was a death in the family and she would be missing the upcoming week of class and work. However, her family has confirmed that there was no death in the family. As we can see, there is some strange sauce going on here. There were certainly some strange and unusual occurrences in the days leading up to Maura's disappearance. Her behavior at work, the withdrawal of the money from her father's account, the mysterious party, and that fabricated excuse for her absence from class and work all add to the growing list of questionings surrounding her case. Now, adding to the confusion, Maura's phone records show a phone call made to her boyfriend Billy, which went straight to voicemail, as Billy was at the moment calling Maura's friend Kate Makropoulos. Billy then made 3 return calls to Maura in the minutes following, all of which went unanswered. Her last outgoing call was made at 4:37 p.m. to her dorm room. Also, Maura withdrew $280 from an ATM at 4 p.m., and surveillance footage confirms that she was alone. She was later seen purchasing a box of Fernandina wine, a bottle of Kahlua, and Bailey's that would later be found in her car, but the bottles were missing. It is believed that Maura set out at Route 91 North, as it is the only main highway that's both within a few minutes of UMass and runs directly north and south into southern New Hampshire. The last activity on Maura's cell phone was around 5 p.m. when someone called her. A cell phone ping confirms that the call came from within 20 minutes of Londonderry, New Hampshire, a town just north of the New Hampshire-Massachusetts border. And this timeline and the evidence found have led investigators to speculate that the person calling Maura was perhaps traveling on Route 93 North, the main interstate running from Boston to northern New Hampshire before connecting onto Route 91 and heading into Canada. It takes a couple of hours to drive from Londonderry to Haverhill, New Hampshire, where Maura crashed. The cell phone ping was approximately 2 hours prior to the accident, with Maura vanishing some 20 minutes after the crash. So what happened during the time of the accident? One witness, known as Witness A, is a crucial piece of the puzzle in the Maura Murray case. According to the information provided, Witness A was on their way home from work on the night of Maura's accident. As they were driving east on Swiftwater Road, they noticed a police SUV approaching from behind with its lights flashing. The SUV eventually overtook and passed Witness A's vehicle. As they continued on their journey, Witness A took a right turn onto Route 112, and minutes later, he was again overtaken and passed by the same police SUV with its lights still on and the markings 001 clearly visible. Eventually, Witness A reached the site of the accident and saw the same police SUV parked nose to nose with a dark-colored car, which is believed to be Maura's Saturn. The significance of this witness account is that it contradicts the official story from the police, who claim they did not arrive at the scene of the accident until around 7:30 p.m. The fact that the Witness A saw the police SUV with marking 001 and that it was on the scene before the first 911 call was placed raises the questions about the actions of the police in the aftermath of Maura's accident and her disappearance. It is also important that I note that Witness A's story has been corroborated over several interviews with the Murray family and with the host of the Missing Maura Murray podcast. This consistency in their accounts add credibility to their testimony and suggest that there may be more to the story. So, the 911 call that reported Maura's accident was made by Faith Westman at 7:27 p.m. on February 9, 2004. Westman is a nearby neighbor. Reported hearing what sounded like a car crash. The first responders on the scene were the volunteer fire department and ambulance from the nearby town of Woodsville. It is important to note that this 911 call was made 22 minutes after two witnesses reportedly overheard scanner reports of a car driving off the road and the driver leaving in a private vehicle. This raises questions why the police were not alerted to the accident sooner and why there's no official record of the earlier scanner reports. Now there's the bus driver, Butch Atwood. He arrived on the scene soon after the first 911 call was placed. Atwood had seen Maura's car on the side of the road earlier and had asked if she needed help, but Maura had told him she had already called for assistance. It's unclear if Atwood's arrival on the scene was before or after the 911 call was made. Atwood's common-law wife called the police at 7:43 p.m., which was 60 minutes after the 911 call was placed. It is also worth noting that the New Hampshire State Police arrived on the scene at around 8 p.m., which was 33 minutes after the 911 call was placed. This delay in the police response raises questions about the efficiency of the emergency services that night. The police handling of the case has been criticized by the Murray family and other investigators. They believe that there may have been a lack of urgency in responding to the accident. Additionally, The fact that there's no official record of the scanner reports made 22 minutes before the 911 call raises a lot of suspicions. So the police arrives on the scene around 8 p.m. They find Maura's car, but Maura is nowhere to be found. The car was locked and her purse that contained her ID and other personal items was found inside the car. The keys were also found in the car and there was no signs of struggle at all. The police searched the area around the car, but they did find footprints in the snow leading away from the car. But these footprints were not identified as Maura's, and they disappeared after a short distance. The police also searched the woods and the surrounding area with search dogs, but they were unable to find any traces of her. The police immediately began to investigate her disappearance as a missing persons case, and they interviewed anyone who had seen Maura or had any contact with her in the days leading up to her disappearance. They also reviewed Maura's phone records, bank records, and other records in an effort to piece together all her movements leading up to the accident. So despite their efforts, the police were unable to find any leads or clues as to Maura's whereabouts. The fact that Maura was not found at the scene of the accident, there's no signs of struggle, have led to investigators believe that she may have left the accident site on her own. Butch Atwood, the bus driver we spoke about earlier, he was the last person to see Maura before she disappeared. He was given 2 polygraph tests by the police during their investigation. The first test was inconclusive, and the second test, which Atwood took voluntarily, showed that he was not deceptive when answering questions about Maura's disappearance. However, it is worth noting that polygraph tests are not always accurate, and some experts do believe they should not be used as evidence in any criminal investigations. Atwood has consistently maintained that he had no involvement in her disappearance and that he simply stopped to help her when he saw her car crash on the side of the road. He stated that Maura told him that she had already called for help and that she didn't need him to call 911. He also offered her a ride to his house, which she declined. Despite Atwood passing of the polygraph test and his consistent statements, some people still have suspicion about his involvement in her disappearance, especially considering the fact that the footprints found at the scene disappeared after a short distance, and the fact that Maura's car was locked and her purse was found inside the car. However, there is currently no concrete evidence linking Atwood to Maura's disappearance. So her case remains one of the most mysterious and perplexing cold cases in recent history. Despite the extensive searches and the ongoing investigation, no trace of Maura has been found and no one has been charged in the connection with her disappearance. The years have gone by and the case has become shrouded in mystery with theories and speculation about what may have happened to Maura. Some believe she may have run away or staged her own disappearance, while others think she may have been the victim of a random crime. However, there is currently no evidence of any of these theories. The lack of physical evidence, also with the conflicting witness statements and the passage of time, have all hindered the investigation. Additionally, the fact that she left her cell phone in her car, which contained her purse and other personal items, these are the reasons why people are speculating that she may have planned to disappear. She was planning to just go away. Well, despite all these challenges, the police and Maura's family continues to search for answers, and they hope that new evidence will come to light that will help solve this case. They also continue to urge anyone with information about Maura's disappearance to come forward. So I guess we'll have to ask, what if the answer was right in front of us the whole time? What if it was someone that they never suspected? Or someone who was so close to Maura that they never even considered them as a suspect? The possibilities are endless, and the reality might be even more shocking than any of the theories out there. The case of Maura Murray remains open, and the search for answers continues, and it leaves us all on the edge of our seats. So that's going to do it for today, guys. In the description below, I'm going to provide a link where you can send any information you may have to the Maura Murray tip line. And if you enjoy true crime and paranormal stories, then please hit the subscribe button and help me grow the channel. Thank you so much.